I do find January can be a little bit dull and depressing, so let's attempt to brighten it up with the use of paint on this piece behind. Yes, welcome back to my YouTube channel and the first video of 2026. I hope everyone had a lovely Christmas and New Year. It's that cold in here, you can see my breath. Might not be showing up on camera, but you can see my breath. It's freezing. We've just actually had some snow in the UK, so that's now melted. And we've got rain. We're back to rain. Give me snow any day of the week. Anyway, on with the cabinet. This piece has been in storage that long. The handles have gone rusty. So, I might have mentioned it before in some other videos, but I have been clearing through one of my older storage units. That storage unit was actually on a farm, and this was in a barn. And part of the reason that I wanted to clear that out at the back end of last year is because some of the pieces have been in storage for years, and they had birds nesting in the roof, which is not ideal for storing pieces of furniture. So you see these white specks on the front, that's not a paint effect, that's actually bird poo. So obviously that is not ideal for me storing pieces of furniture in. I also have so much furniture in storage, I really don't need that amount in storage. So it's just been a case of kind of whittling down those pieces in storage. And this is one of the oldest pieces in there. I bought this years and years and years ago. I still remember how much I paid for it. I paid £10 for it. And also, I bought handles. When I was on holiday in Dorset, I saw these handles in a little shop, and I thought that would make this cabinet something different, something quirky, a little bit boho. And I've had them in my storage box ever since. So I'm going to go with the original plan. I'm going to make it a little bit boho, a little bit quirky. I don't have any set plans on the finish of this yet. All I know is that I want to inject a little bit of colour, a little bit of creativity, make it a little bit more exciting than what it currently is. Obviously get rid of the bird poo as well, because that nobody wants bird poo on cupboards. And somehow incorporate these handles. So that's the plan. Let's get started. One of the first things I've got to do, aside from cleaning the bird poo off, is we've got the dreaded green felt in the drawers, because this would have been at the bottom part of some kind of like buffet display cabinet type thing, or dresser, so it would have had a top part at one point. So that's got to go. Sometimes it comes out easily, sometimes it puts up a little bit of a fight. So one of the first things I'm going to do, give it a good clean, get rid of that green felt. In fact, I did not tackle that green felt as one of my first jobs. That comes much later on in the video. The first thing I did is cleaned it, because that is not negotiable. That needed a thorough clean. This is just a preliminary clean. Easy for me to say. So I'm just going in with Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner. Now this is a heavy duty cleaner, which is what is required. It doesn't actually look that bad on the camera, but this was disgusting. It's been stored in a barn for over 5 years. So there's cobwebs, there's dust, there's also bird poo, which I mentioned in the introduction. So giving it a thorough clean, and did underneath, inside, upside down, all the things. Using Dixie Belle's White Lightning Cleaner, this is a rinseable cleaner, and you do need to rinse it off once you've cleaned. So I just give it a really good scrub, and then I go in with some clean warm water and a microfiber cloth just to remove any cleaning residue afterwards. Now the top had some flaky varnish, and the grain was a little bit raised on the top. So I went in with my Festool sander. I always get asked questions about this sander every time I use it, so I'll link a video top right now if you want to have a look at the sander, what it does, the features, etc. But I'm going to sand the varnish completely off the top. Like I say, it was flaking. It's not usually necessary to completely strip a piece before you paint it, especially if it's varnished. All you need to do is usually scuff sand, which is exactly what I'm doing now. But because that top was compromised, the original finish was flaky and peeling, the best thing to do is to take it off, and that is going to give me a better finish and also ensure that my paint sticks to that finish properly. and is not at risk at chipping or flaking. This is just a scuff sand. It is literally when you just rub a piece of sandpaper over a finish and give it that kind of light hazy look. You can see the difference between the left side and the right. Left side has been scuff sanded, the right has not. For any intricate details, I just go in with a little bit of sandpaper and do it by hand. So for this video, I am going to show you exactly what I did. As I said in the introduction, I had no set plans. I didn't even intend on using purple, but I grabbed purple off my shelf. I am not a purple fan usually. It's not a colour that I paint in an awful lot. I could probably count on one hand the amount of times that I've painted in purple, lilac, lavender, those kind of colours. It's just not really a colour that I gravitate towards. Obviously colour is very personal preference, and I just like greens and blues, with the odd exception, a little bit red, a little bit pink, a little bit yellow. Purple's just not one of the colours that I use very often, but I don't know why, because I did thoroughly enjoy this piece and I'm really glad that I did use these colours. I just fancied doing something a little bit different, a little bit crazy, a little bit experimental, and I think it's because the piece is so boring and plain and just a standard cupboard with a couple of drawers, a couple of cupboard doors. There's literally no age to this piece, there's no value to it, and I just thought it was the perfect piece to go a little bit wild on. So this is the darkest colour that I'm starting out with, and again, I haven't really got any reason or rhyme why I'm placing the colours, where I'm placing them. I'm just kind of going for it. So I've chosen some colours that work really well together. So the darkest is obviously the darker purple that you can see. This one's called Plum Crazy. If you did want to know any of the colours that I'm using in the video, I will link them all underneath in the description, and they're affiliate links, which means if you click on them and make a purchase, I earn a small commission, but it won't cost you a penny more. And it's really just kind of playing around with where I wanted those colours. So as you can see, I've used the darker colour to create a little bit of shadow in maybe the areas around the edges of the drawers and the cupboard doors, where I want a darker colour, a little bit of shading and a little bit of shadow. And then I'm using this lighter shade to highlight some areas. So this way you're going to get some real depth and kind of tonal variation to the colour. It's not just going to be one flat colour. I'm not going for a very super smooth blend. I'm going for a kind of bohemian layered kind of look here. I'm not using any water at all. So these paints I'm laying down pretty quickly, and I'm not waiting for them to dry before I'm adding the next one. So that's why you can see they are melting into one another. What I will say, from somebody that doesn't blend paint necessarily very often, I'm more of kind of layerer, distressing kind of look person, but Dixie Belle paints blend like an absolute dream. I'm able to blend these without the use of any water or any real kind of effort in trying to make them blend. They just melt into one another effortlessly. This next shade is called Cobalt Blue, and I just thought the blue would work really well with the colours that I've already got down. Every time you see me using a new colour, I am using individual brushes for each colour. That way they're going to stay kind of separate. I want them to sort of melt together, but I don't want them all to mix together and become too muddy. So I'm using separate brushes. The top of the unit is one big flat space, so I'm just going to lay some colours down on there and let it dry. And then I introduced another colour. Wasn't sure how many colours to introduce on this piece. You could probably keep going with lots more layers and colours, but I'm glad I did stop it with this one. I did have a hot pink in the waiting in the wings just to see if that kind of worked as well, but I didn't go there with that one. So it's just the dark purple, the lighter kind of plummy colour, the cobalt blue, and then this one's called Mermaid Tail. And I'm putting this on with a spatula because it gives you that distressed look without having to paint all the layers and then sand them back. And it also adds a little bit of definition around the drawers and doors. Again, that was just the first coat, so I was just kind of playing around with placement. I did go in a little bit heavy with Mermaid Tail, a little bit too heavy. So when I'm applying the second coat, which is what I'm doing now, I'm just kind of refining where I want those colours. If I can see a colour that I didn't particularly like, or the fact that I went in with Mermaid Tail, a little bit too heavy in areas, you can just cover it up with the paint. These colours, the coverage of these colours is amazing, which means you can quite easily manipulate your first coat if it's not quite right, and add a second one and just refine it like I'm doing now. And then we move on to the drawer, the dreaded green stuff in the drawer. This stuff has actually been put on the base of the drawer before the thing had been assembled, so it was tucked underneath the sides and the back of the drawer. So I had to kind of almost dismantle the drawer at the back to get a corner that I could then pull to rip off. It's only stuck down with glue. Sometimes with older pieces, it's easier to release that glue if you soak it in warm water. But as you can see, I'd already started painting this piece because I'm too impatient sometimes and I just want to get my hands on the paint and do the fun stuff, and not the stuff like this, which should definitely be done before you start painting. But I am a bad student, so I'm doing it now after I had done a couple of coats of paint. So I just needed to kind of get a corner of the felt so that I could use the pliers and pull it out, but it was stuck down really well. It also did not come out in one sheet, but usually when you see this green felt in the bottom of a drawer, it definitely is removable. You've just got to figure out the best way of taking it out. So I couldn't leave the top alone, and I've fiddled and faffed with it, as we do. Don't know if anybody else, if something's not quite right, I can't leave it alone. So I've been out here in my pyjamas and in the dark and all kinds of things. So I didn't film it, but all I've done is basically stop that huge lighter section in the middle from being so circular. I don't know. I wanted it to be a bit more subtle, but I need it to obviously tie into the rest of the piece. So I went over the whole thing with the darker purple, and then I just added a little bit of highlights so that it ties into the front. I want the front to be the focal point, but equally I don't want this to just be one flat colour. So I've done that, and I'm going to let it dry and see how it goes. I have added a little bit of the cobalt blue in there as well, because I just want it to look a bit more abstract, as the front kind of does. So I'm not saying it's done, but I'm saying we're getting there. Like I say, making a big expanse of a top work is harder, in my opinion, than a cupboard or a drawer front, just because there's just a big flat expanse of space, and I didn't want it to just be one flat colour. So that's why I kind of kept messing around with it and trying different layouts of the colours. I didn't want to take away too much from the front of the cabinet because I wanted that to be the main focal point. To finish this, you know I'm going to use wax because that is my absolute go-to. So I'm just applying a clear coat of wax first. So this is just clear wax going down all over, one thin coat, and then I buffed it off. And then I'm going to use some black wax. And a lot of people ask me, when do I use black? When do I use brown? I'd use brown if I wanted more of an antique-y, warmer look, and black is going to give you, obviously, a more dramatic look. And I think this piece can handle dramatic. I always start out with the areas that I want the most amount of black wax on my brush, put that down first, and then when the bristles have kind of got less product on, I like to feather it out. This is a premium chip brush that I'm using, which is a natural bristle brush, perfect for applying wax. And I like these because they don't hold too much product, because it's best to build wax up in thin layers. If you apply too much at once, it can kind of get a bit sticky and gloopy, and then you have to start removing it, and it's just a bit of a mess. So a little bit goes a long way as well. Highly pigmented. This is just going to add a little bit more drama and push the areas that are sort of shaded back further. Just make those front areas of the drawers really pop. Again, work it in thin layers. Between each layer, give it a buff so that you haven't got too much product sitting on the surface. I only went in with a little bit of black wax just to, like I say, add a little bit more definition to what that was already there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of bling. So this is Gold Gilding Wax, and you've probably seen me use it on other things like handles and hinges and hardware. But you can also use it over the top of a paint finish as well. I would always advise using this product last, after you've top coated or waxed, because it is an oil-based permanent product. So water-based products won't sit too well over the top of it, but it's fine to sit over water-based products. And I'm just using my finger and just going around the drawer edges, around the cupboard doors, just to add a little bit of subtle shimmer. The other place that I did this is on the drawer kind of edges where you pull it in and out. I painted the inside in this pink. This is a silk all-in-one mineral paint colour, which I do usually use for interiors of pieces because it's very, very durable. And I just thought the pink looked really pretty against the purple exterior. And then, because it is a wax product, always make sure you give it a good buff, and that gives it a lovely shine. The final thing I did is add the handles, which are definitely going to pull this piece together. I just think they work really well on this bohemian kind of look. And I'm glad I've saved them for over 5 years, as well as the cabinet that's been stashed in my barn for so long. A couple of close-ups of the finished look, and here's the final piece. So, am I a purple convert? Will I be using purple again in the future a little bit more often? Maybe. I do really like this piece. I love how it's turned out. I love all the colour combinations together. I'm glad I didn't go in with any more colours. I just think it works perfectly as it is. I love the little hints of gold as well. They always work really well with purple. So yes, it's been really nice to do something a little bit different. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video today, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more videos like this one, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.